Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Recently, I had a conversation with somebody where they were talking about the high prices of picture Jasper. And we were kind of going back and forth on it, and I think it makes for an interesting topic and an interesting point. I don't typically, here on the channel, talk about the price of rocks because I don't really buy rocks. I mean, sometimes we go to fee digs, mines, things like that, and pay for rocks in that sense, but I'm not like on eBay and Etsy buying rocks, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want to do. Picture Jasper is it's one of those things that it can cost a lot if it's really good, and maybe we could talk a little bit about why it can cost so much. For those of you who don't know, I mean, you may be aware of just kind of like your standard kind of like jaspers, right? Like your browns, reds, whatever. Stuff like this, Jasper, right? And it's nice, it's fun. Like, jaspers are really hard. They tumble well, they cut well, they polish well, all of those things. However, there are certain jaspers out there that you can get a scene, generally a landscape scene cut out of them, and that is on the more premium end of the Jasper world. It can also be quite a pain to get, and it can cost a lot, like slabs of nice picture Jasper. Let's look at a couple of pieces of picture Jasper and some picture Jasper in the rough and what it kind of takes to get some of these beautiful slabs. So right here, right, some people will call this, also it's important to point out that a lot of Jaspers will have a I guess like a trade name, right? Like people inventing stuff, making stuff up, examples of trade names that aren't actually anything. I mean, it's all Jasper, right? And we can talk about the different minerals that produce the different colors in Jasper. But people will be like Starry Night Jasper, this Poppy Jasper, this Jasper. It's just made up stuff. It's all Jasper, right? With different inclusions which produce different colors. Galaxy Stone, that's a kind of a trade name. It's a migdaloidal basalt. Yeah, on and on. Anyways, we could go anywhere with it. Okay, so this is from McDermott, and you can kind of see we have like the ground and a little mountain and sky, and you could certainly get something nice out of that. Here's another piece of picture Jasper. You can kind of see we have a nice little scene. And then you can get some really premium pieces, like this piece that I cut and polished. If that doesn't just look like a little mountain with a sun, and then you can see on the back side, it's a little less good. This is definitely the keeper side of it, okay? So to get those types of pictures can require a lot of cutting. Right here, I have a piece of a Wahi picture Jasper. Now, it's kind of a good square block. It's very good for cutting, right? Like it'll fit nice in the saw, clamp really well. And we kind of have really 4 sides of attack here. I think we can head over to the bench and talk about this. We're going to look at some other picture Jaspers as well. And then we're going to do some cutting, and I'm going to be working on this pile over here. I have 6 pieces of Jasper here, most of which I plan on cutting up, and it's a Wahi Jasper. So this piece that we were just looking at, right, we seem to have some decent scenes going on in here. Now this stuff can cost a lot because to find a good picture, I might make a cut here and get this rough off and not like what I see, and then rotate it 90 in the saw and cut it again and not like what I see again here. And then this last face, I might be like, okay, that's the direction to cut. This right here is going to take me about 30 minutes or so to cut in the saw. So I could potentially have 2 hours invested into this one rock before I even start taking my slabs out of it to produce the picture. I do think that is probably the best way to do it. Now, what makes for a good picture is anything kind of like that. I mean, this is just like the broken off piece. And yeah, you just want to try to imagine what a good cab, or even just like a little like cutout would look like. I mean, having some stencils around is always nice to help imagine, but you can kind of see what that would potentially look like. So that might be a good way of cutting it. And really, you just have to go through your rocks and just cut. So picture, Jasper, on like, let's just say, you have an agate, right? Or a Brazilian agate or whatever. We're really trying to chase a nice, beautiful landscape scene. Cutting here could be good because we have this brown and then we have blue up top. Cutting over here could be a lot better, right? We have more potential for something good, I think. Right now, we're just going to focus on this. You can see here we have a lot of potential for some nice scenes. I think we also have a couple of problems with this, that's kind of normal. You can see we have a little fracture running there, and it kind of dips down. On the plus side, even something like that might be totally fine, So we'll probably start by, this will be our first cut over on the saw. All chucked up in the saw, ready to take that first cut off of the rough end there, and hopefully it's great. Otherwise we'll be working our way around this thing. All right, let's see how this first cut turned out. That's not bad. Now, this slab right here, you can kind of see, well, this is just the end cut. I don't care much about that. But we do have a really nice picture going on in here. I think we will get a nice slab out of that since it's not fractured. Probably, I might get like 2 slabs out of this before doing a rotation on it. This might just be an example piece where I cut all the sides. We'll see. We'll see. Here's that first slab that I cut. It's pretty good. We got some good pictures in here. If we even just get this guy just a little wet and kind of make some of the colors pop as if I had polished it, and we can have a much better view of what some of this could potentially look like here. And if we even just take our stencil here and start looking around for like a rolling hill, a rolling hill, a little sun, mountain, different things we can start to imagine. And then even, I guess that's probably more the bottom. How about over here, Unfortunately, you only get that one side, right? So I'm not going to make you witness me cut a million slabs and cut up a bunch of rocks. So I'm going to have at it for a couple of days and check back in with you when I got a lot of things cut up and we can really evaluate our picture Jasper slabs that we got. So it's been several days since I kind of started this project. Granted, I haven't been out here, 12 hours a day cutting, but it's taken me a while and I've cut up a lot of that material. So let's head over to the bench. We'll look at it up close. I got some good cuts and some not so good cuts. That's the way it goes. I think it's important to point out here how long of a process this can be. When you take a rock and you want to produce a single slab, such as this rock, we're about 6 inches into this. To cut a rough side off of a rock and then cut the first slab, my saw cuts at about 1 inch per 6 minutes. So right here we have about a half-hour cut and then another half hour. So cut the rough side off of a rock, and then to get the first slab is running my saw for 1 hour, okay? Times everything that you see here, sometimes multiple cuts going around a rock to try to get a good cut. And this would be a prime example of wanting to cut that end off and then cut that off, and I produced these slabs off of that. And we have some beautiful pictures that we can find in those, and we'll look at that here shortly. You might notice a good rock like this, where you kind of want to cut that rough off, you might need something like this, right? To be able to pinch that. You can see I laid this out. I might cut that rough piece off so that I can fit that in my holder, and I can actually cut this whole thing up to the very last little bit. Clearly, this is what you don't want. You don't want a slab to come apart on you. Now, these little pieces will probably get, maybe thrown out back. Not a whole lot I can do with them. We do have some nicer seams in these. I do think it helps to even take the most basic stencil, like even just like an oval, right? And you can kind of start to imagine different little scenes in some of these stones. Maybe not that. But if we even go over here, right? So there's a couple of ways that you could look at this, either in that orientation or that orientation. I kind of like, what if you wanted a little snow-capped mountain right there? How about that? Right there in that one. That could look cool. You could go bigger, do something like that. So yeah, it's kind of fun to be able to go through the rock once you have it, look at it and be like, what kind of scene could you get? Or do you want to get? This one over here, I got several really good slabs out of. And I went around this one and I cut all the sides so that we can kind of see what this looks like all the way through. We're a little cruddy up here at the top. I might come in and just cut that and then have kind of like this just interesting shelf piece. So that's a good way of reducing down some of the stock. I have another one here that's that broke, but still that's definitely good and some keepers. So a lot of work in that. I did this one that broke. I did manage to cut a really big slab for a future project where I need some big slabs. So I have that. That's a keeper. Out of this one here, you can see it still has some oil on it because it's not great. It did come apart, and that would also just probably come apart if I did that. So we have this one here, and you can see it would be nice to have a continuation of that scene, like a scene like that. And we can even get this guy a little wet here, and we can see these even better. Look at that. Look at that. That would look super good. Okay. So we can have that little kind of like scene there. Where is it? Okay. So with this, you can see that we can maybe get another slab out and have it look good, but we have a crack there. So really, that's kind of a not worth my time thing. And I do still have the rest of this, but we kind of got a little like porous in spots, and it's just generally not the best piece of picture Jasper. So overall, I did manage to do a decent amount of reduction of the overall volume that I have here, and I have some great slabs for future projects. I still have these two rocks that are untouched, and we can look here. You can kind of see that would have a nice picture in that part that's chipped off. I think this one is also would be quite good. You could get some nice desert scenes out of that. Well, because of the size of these rocks, I think they'd be very conducive to somebody cutting them that only has a tile saw. And I know a lot of people only have tile saws. So these are going to be the giveaway rocks for the members here on the channel. Thank you so much, guys. If you are interested in becoming a member and you're logged in on your YouTube channel, you can just click the join button down below. Do extra videos over there. I have 100+ videos. We do a monthly giveaway of rocks just like this. So go check that out if you'd like to support this project even further. Well, I think that about does it. I got some great slabs, very happy with it, and I'll be using those in some future projects, which I'm sure you will see. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, and thanks for coming by the shop, everybody. I'll take care.